Welcome to South Asia Maps. This is Intellectual Kshatriya channel at South Asia Maps. Your presenter J. Reddy will bring you the knowledge heritage information of South Asia, south of Karakoram Mountains and north of Kanyakumari. Today's the topic of discussion is a very fascinating railway history topics, Indian railway histories. Madras on the Coromandel Coast is linked to Malabar Coast of excuse me for my allergies, Madras Presidency, former Madras Presidency. And if you are following me on other social media channels, I strongly suggest the audience to go to my main YouTube channel, South Asia Maps J. Reddy, bringing South Asian heritage to you in the form of icons and maps. And there are more than 110 fascinating presentations I made for you in the form of iconographic information, and you can explore them further and give your comments, and if you like them you can subscribe them and encourage our channel. As a part of railway history, I already talked about the Howrah-Delhi railway line and the Grand Code, the main line, Sahibganj line, Sahibganj loop, and Bombay Madras railway system, and so on. Many other fascinating topics I have brought for my audience. Excuse me. That is in brief about South Asia channel. Today's the topic of discussion is Madras-Malabar Railway Line. The Madras-Malabar Railway Line, or the first it is called Madras-Beypore Railway Line. Here is a Madras, it is a Beypore. This is the Malabar Coast in the former Madras Presidency. And Beypore is maybe like 10-15 kilometers south of the biggest city in that area called Calicut or Kozhikode. It was the former capital of Jamorin Maharajas or Samudri Maharajas. Beypore is on the bank of river Beypore or Chaliyar River, and the railway link was made from Madras to Beypore. So we will talk about that important railway line today. It was completed in 1862. That means 5 years after the Sepoy Mutiny, and finally a few kilometers further extension to Calicut was made in 1888. That means Madras Presidency, the Chengalpattu region, is well connected with the Malabar district, that is Calicut, by 1888 in the Madras Presidency. That's the topic of today's discussion. So, the railways in India started during the time of Hardinge. Maharaja Ranjit Singh died round about 1839, and the first Sikh war was fought in 1840s, and during the Hardinge Governor General's Dam, the ground network was laid for the building of the railway lines in India. The later Governor General Lord Dalhousie, who ruled from 1848 to 56, that is almost 1 year before the Sepoy Mutiny, negotiated with the home government in London and made arrangements for building the railway lines in India. And before he left, around about 200 kilometers or so, the railway lines were built in India. 200 kilometers. The initial railway lines were built from Bombay to Thane and Madras, that is Rayapuram, suburb of Madras, to Arcot or Vellore or Raniganj region and Ranipet region, and in Calcutta, Madras Presidency, Calcutta to Raniganj, that is in the Damodar Valley in the Burdwan district. That means before Lord Dalhousie left India, there were around about 200 miles of the railway line. And the mutiny broke down after a year in 1857 during the time of Lord Canning, 56 to 62, Canning as a Governor General. At the time, after mutiny was suppressed and the British recognized the importance of the railway system. Even before mutiny, the small railway system played a very important role for retaining the British power in India. Immediately, within 2 years, the government sanctioned a lot of money and made an arrangement to build 5,000 miles of the railway system in India. 200 miles to 5,000. When the British left in India, the partition time, you can say 1947, you can say around about 43,000 miles of railway line was built. That is one of the very big railway network on the planet Earth. When the partition occurred, around about 35k miles came to Indian Dominion and 8,000 miles gone to Pakistan Dominion. That's the broad outlook. So, you remember 1857, the Sepoy Mutiny. Within round about 5 years, this railway line was built. That was the major link in the British India, connecting the Madras to Beypore. So the railway line passed from Madras. This was built by the Madras Railway Company, MRC, that also built a railway line from Madras to up to Raichur, connecting Madras to Bombay. Bombay to Raichur line was built by GIPR, Greater Indian Peninsular Railway. MRC, Madras Railway Company, played a part in connecting Madras to Bombay also. Here we are talking about Madras Railway Company. Here we have Madras, then Arakkonam Junction, the Palar River, you have Vellore and Katpadi, twin cities on Palar River. Then the railway line goes to the Palar River Valley, Gudiyatam and all those areas, and Jolarpettai. In Jolarpettai, British later built a connecting line from Jolarpettai to Bangalore Cantonment. Again, the military strategy has played a very important role here. Jolarpettai. Then it continued and crosses the Chaliyar River and goes to the Baramahal region. This is the historic Salem District or Baramahal region. And this is the Salem, the headquarters of the Baramahal district. From Salem, it continues in the Kongu Nadu region. This is all Kongu Nadu, Baramahal district and Coimbatore district. At Erode, it crosses the river Kaveri and continues in the Coimbatore plains. And after Tiruppur, then we have Coimbatore. From Coimbatore, within few kilometers, it enters Walayar and enters into the Palakkad district, crosses the Palakkad Gap. From Palakkad district, it continues to go along the Bharathappuzha River or Gayatri River, also called Ponnani River. It goes along the Ponnani, the Ottupalem, Shoranur, Pattambi, Kuttipuram, Thanur, Tirur and Beypore. It stops at Beypore. That's how the railway line was built originally by 1862 from Madras to Beypore. Why they have built to Beypore, not to Ponnani, and the Ponnani river was Beypore is much closer to Calicut, and Calicut was the major center in the Malabar district, and Calicut was also very close to Tellicherry, that is also major urban center in this region, that is also very close to Cannanore in the Malabar districts at that time. That was the British cantonment. British cantoned their troops in Cannanore to control that area. So that was much closer, easy to go through compared to Ponnani. So finally they extended the railway lines to Calicut few years later. That is about the Madras Beypore railway line. And let us look at the railway line on the map, why the British made such a decision to go through and connect this one. This is the Chennai, Madras, Chengalpattu district and Arakkonam here. And Arakkonam, the railway line goes through Palar River Valley. You see the Palar River Valley. That skids east side of the Palar River Valley. We have Javadi Mountains and Nilgiri Mountains. So it naturally skids the Javadis and Nilagiris, goes to the Palar River. After Palar River, there is a town called Jolarpettai. In Jolarpettai, later they built a connecting line to Bangalore Cantonment. Bangalore Cantonment was under the control of Rajas of Walayar. The British resident resided in Bangalore. Maharaja resided in Mysore. So they built a cantonment in Bangalore and they connected that cantonment with Jolarpettai. And the railway line continued. This is the Baramahal Hills. This is Guttirayan Hills. This is the Shavarai Hills. Yarkud will be somewhere here. Shavarayans, Chitteris and all those mountains. And it continues and there is a Stanley Reservoir that dams the Mettur on Kaveri River. And Salem being the major center in Baramahal, they connected Salem. From later they built from Salem to Mettur other connecting line later. And from Salem it crosses the Kaveri River at a place called Erode, Kaveri Erode, and continues in the Coimbatore plains, goes to Tipu and all those areas, comes to Coimbatore, the major center, urban center, and enters into the Palakkad Gap. You can see the Palakkad Gap here. The Palakkad Gap, south is you have Anaimalai Hills here, north Kunda Hills and Nilgiri Hills. This is the Wayanad region, this is the Kodagu region, and continues along the river called Ponnani River and goes and stops at Beypore, and later it extended up to Calicut River. So Madras Railway Company, MRC, is western terminus of Malabar. This is the Malabar Madras Railway line. Ponnani or Calicut. When the controversy came, they finally selected Calicut, as we discussed, because of close proximity to Cannanore military station, other major urban center, Tellicherry. And Tellicherry was under British control, and nearby Mahe at that time was under the French control. So finally the extension from Beypore was made to Calicut by 1888, and west coast was linked. So here important geographical landmarks of the railway line are, you can see the Palar River and Ponniyar River, Palar River, Ponniyar River, Kaveri River and Gayatri River, Ponnani River, Bharathappuzha River, Palakkad and River Beypore. The important mountain ranges are Javadis, Nilgiri Mountains, Gutti Rayans, that is in the Baramahal region, Dharmapuri Krishnagiri region, and Bodamalai and Urugumalai, that is Satyamangalam and Bhavani regions, at that time eastern parts of Coimbatore, now Periyar region. Then we have Chevrayans regions in near Salem, Severayan Hills. Severayans Hills in Salem. Then we have Kollimalai and Kunda Hills. Kollimalai near Namakka and Kunda Hills north of Palakkad Gap, and we have Anaimalai Hills south of Palakkad Gap. So we can see Madras Beypore was connected by 1862 and Madras-Calicut 1888, and Madras Howrah was much later, round about 1900, and Howrah Allahabad Bombay was connected, Howrah to Bombay connected 1870, and via Nagpur later 20 years. And in the western part, Delhi was connected to Multan by 1871, and Howrah was connected to Delhi by 1866. So by 1870s, major railway connections were made in British India. We can go and look these things now. This is the Madras Presidency. This is Schwartzberg Atlas. We are looking at the Schwartzberg Atlas. You can type Digital South Asia Library or Schwartzberg. You will get it. On page number 60, you can say, you will see the British India map of 1860s or so. We have Madras Presidency here. The Madras Presidency has a Coromandel district, that is Tamil speaking districts, and it has a Sarkar districts, Telugu speaking districts. It has ceded districts, Rayalaseema districts, that is third division. The last division is the West Coast district, that is South Canara and Malabar district. And in the hilly areas in the eastern part are called agency districts. That is in general about the Madras Presidency. And Madras Presidency was the presidency that spanned from coast to coast. We have a Sindhu Sagar Ocean, that is Arabian Ocean. We have a Ganga Sagar Ocean, that is Bay of Bengal. So this is the only presidency that spanned both areas. And we have Pulicat Lake, the transition area between northern Sarkars and southern Cholamandalam districts or Coromandel districts or Tamil speaking districts. The railway lines span from Madras city here, Chengalpattu district, North Arcot district, Salem district, Baramahal district, historical Coimbatore district and Malabar district. The Mahi was the French exclave in this region under French control, and Calicut will be south of Mahi and Tellicherry. That is the, you can see the fascinating 3D dimensions. We have a Chennai here, and we have the railway line goes through Arakkonam and Vellore and Katpadi, and it goes to Ambur Gudiyattam area. This is Palar Valley, and this is the Baramahal region. This is the Hosur, Krishnagiri, Dharmapuri, those regions. It continues, goes to Jolarpettai, will be somewhere here. Then This is Guttiroyan Hills. This is the Stanley Reservoir damming the Mettur Dam. Mettur Reservoir, Stanley Reservoir, Mettur Dam. And Salem, from Salem it goes to Erode, is the Kaveri. On the bank of river Kaveri, Erode, and we have here Coimbatore, Tirupur, Coimbatore, and near Walayar, somewhere here, Walayar, it enters into Palakkad Gap. In the Walayar, it enters into Palakkad Gap. You have a Palakkad here. This is the Bharathappuzha River or Gayatri River or Ponnane River. The railway line, this is the Palakkad Junction now. The railway line goes along the Ponnane River. Then we have Palakkad, we have Vattupalam and Shoranur. We have Palakkad, Vattupalam and Shoranur. It goes to Pattambi, it goes to Kuttipuram. Then this is the Ponnane River. So originally they thought, because there is a small port here, Ponnane, and they wanted to build the terminal there. Instead of that, for other regions we discussed, they moved it to Thanur and to Beypore. Beypore here. Beypore is a better port. There is a river called Beypore River. This is the Beypore River, also called Chaliyar River. There is a Kadalundi River here. They join together and form Beypore. You say Beypore. Feroke is other small town. It was historically the capital of the Tipu and his father Hyder Ali, who usurped the Walayar's territories. They made their capital for a couple of years in Feroke. So the Beypore, the initial railway line stopped at Beypore, and later they extended to Kozhikode. That is the other name for Calicut. The Calicut, Kozhikode, Calicut is very close to Cannanore. So you can see Cannanore here. This is the Tellicherry. At that time the British held the Tellicherry, and the British held the Tellicherry, and it is close to Cannanore. Cannanore, there will be Cannanore here, and Cannanore was the British cantonment area. That's the main reason why they built the railway line first to Beypore and extended to Cannanore. Will be somewhere here before Kasargod, Cannanore here. And we are looking the same thing here in the other map. We can see the actual railway line going there. I will show you. We have a Chennai here. The railway line goes to Arakkonam. From Arakkonam, other branch goes and collects to Renigunta and so on to Madras, Bombay. So this is Arakkonam, and you have Jolarpettai and Vellore and Katpadi junctions. It's a twin cities almost. You see the railway line here going to near Gudiyattam, Ambur, Vaniyambadi, and this is where we have Jolarpettai. You will see Jolarpettai Junction. From Jolarpettai Junction, the one branch goes to Kuppam and Kolar Goldfield and Bangalore Cantonment. That is the extension they made later. So we are in Jolarpettai here, then it goes to Tirupattur and close to Uttangarai and Tipu, and here somewhere it crosses the Punyar River. The Punyar River then goes to the Salem. We have a Salem here. We have a Salem. From Salem, it was headquarters of Baramahal district at that time, and Salem to Erode. At Erode on Kaveri River. It goes to Erode, then it enters into Coimbatore plains, and you see Tirupur. Tirupur is different from Tirupattur that we saw near Jolarpettai. Tirupur, then it goes to Coimbatore, the major junction from Coimbatore. Later they built a connection via Mettupalayam to Kunur to Udagamandalam. And because there was again a cantonment in Wellington that is close to Kunur, the hilly areas in Nilgiri. So we are in Coimbatore now, Coimbatore, and crosses Walayar and goes to Palakkad. We see Palakkad Junction. From Palakkad it goes to Ottupalayam and Shoranur. Later they built an extension from Shoranur to Vadakkancherry and Thrissur to Aluva to Cochin Fort. They built an extension. From Shoranur it continues its journey and goes to Pattambi and Kuttipuram. It won't go to Ponnani as we discussed. Other regions that goes to Feroke, and here they reach Beypore. It stops at Beypore, and later an extension was built to Kozhikode or Calicut region. That is that is in brief about the fascinating Madras-Malabar Railway Line. Madras-Malabar Railway Line was the first major railway line the Britishers built within 5 years after the Sepoy Mutiny in North India, and in the Madras Presidency they completed coast to coast from Madras to Beypore, that is around about 15 kilometers or so south of Kozhikode or Calicut, that is the major urban center and headquarters of Malabar districts at that time. Malabar district at that time has today the Kasargod and Kannur, Cannanore, Wayanad and Malappuram, Palakkad. All these districts are sub-centers. At that time it was a very big district, north of which there was the South Cannara district, and south there was a princely state of Cochin and the princely state of Travancore or Venadu kingdom. Princely state of Venadu or Travancore or I, then the princely state of Cochin and Malabar district and Kannara district. That is in brief about the fascinating Madras Beypore or Madras-Calicut Railway Line, built in 1862 and extended 1888, connecting the Madras urban district to Malabar district in the Bay of Bengal to Arabian Sea, Ganga Sagar to Sindhu Sagar, oceans of Madras Presidency of South India Deccan, as a part of British railway system construction. Thank you very much. This is your presenter J. Reddy at South Asia Maps. And before we go that, I will show you one more important presentation. By 1865, the British built these railway lines. You remember, by 1865, British built this railway line. Only railway line that was completed, connected coast to coast, is Madras Beypore. You see here Beypore and Calicut. So Madras. Then at the similar time, they built a railway line to Bangalore, and Arakkonam will be here. From Bombay, they built a railway line, GIPR, Greater Indian Peninsula Railway, built railway line up to Raichur. Still, Madras was not connected to Bombay, Bombay to Bhusawal region, and Bombay to Ahmedabad. It is around about 1865 the railway lines were built. So it's a part. And British built the railway line from Howrah to Delhi. I talked about that in three parts. You can look at the railways playlist, and Sahibganj railway line was built. And at the same time, they built railway line from Amritsar to Multan and Karachi to Kotri, Hyderabad. This is round about 1865. That means almost 8 years after the Sepoy Mutiny in North India, British start connecting the different parts of India for military, political, economic reasons. Initial objective was, of course, the strategic military, controlling the hold over the territory. So that is round about 1865. You will see the Madras and Malabar Railway Link line, and this is our presenter J. Reddy, and we'll see you some other time. Thank you very much.